Hello and welcome to the Tuesday Talk Show with me, your host, Yvonne Gorman. The Tuesday Talk Show is powered by, which way are we? Essential Print Services. And during this series, we are celebrating not just 5, but 10 years in business. Oh my goodness, and what 10 years it's been. But enough about me and Essential Print Services. We've got a fantastic guest over today on the Tuesday Talk Show. But before we go over to Kat from ZestFit Virtual, I'll remind people listening and viewing at home or in the office that we are live, so anything could happen. Please do send in your comments and questions. We would love to hear from you, especially if you're watching this on #replay. But right, no further ado, we're going to go straight over to Kat from ZestFit. Kat, hello, how are you doing? Tell us all about yourself.
Oh, hi. Thank you so much for having me on. This is so exciting. So, yeah, my name's Kat Williams. I'm the owner and founder of ZestFit Virtual as well. And I help women and men feel amazing. I've been doing it for, 25 years now. Yeah, I know. Qualified at 18 in my love of group exercise. And my career really started with Fitness First back in the 90s. And I was really lucky to be with Fitness First for about 8 years. And I traveled the world with them, cluster manager, regional manager, heading up clubs in Southeast Asia and Australia, recruitment, marketing, operational, fitness, exercise, from the ground up. And I think that gave me that huge sort of well-rounded experience, Yvonne, in the fitness industry to eventually set up my own business. So I know nothing other than fitness and motivating people.
Well, that's not bad. That's not bad going. How on earth did you come to Derby? Why did you choose Derby for ZestFit?
So I am a Derby girl. So I'm from Derby. So I was out overseas for a good 5 years with my career. And, there's a question later on that I can highlight why I came home. But I came home after being overseas for a long time and had a little bit of time out because I've been in that corporate rat race, for so long, and settled with mum and dad back in my hometown. And then eventually started to get work with David Lloyd's and other fitness businesses. And long story short, my husband got married. And then after our babies, I set up ZestFit. So ZestFit is also 10 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's grown from 10 years ago right to where we are today.
And where are you today? I know that you're from the ZestFit Virtual Studio. But, I've been a member of ZestFit for some time now, by the virtual classes and also the physical classes. And I remember getting up early on a Saturday morning, and hardly anybody can get me out of bed on a Saturday morning, but you got me out of bed on a Saturday morning to get down to the studio. And the vibe with all the ladies doing Total Tone was just set me up for the entire weekend. So tell us about the studio pre-COVID. Take a snapshot of pre-COVID and now take a snapshot where you are now and how you got there.
Yeah, so pre-COVID, I opened my dream fitness boutique when I hit 40. That was always a goal when I set up ZestFit, and I was lucky enough to have a great following of females doing my classes from Moorways to Queen Street, and that grew and grew and grew, hence opening up the studio. And I wanted that non-intimidating, all-inclusive vibe for girls to feel awesome and get fit. No judgment, no expectation. Having worked for big corporates, I know how intimidating that can be. So the vision was to create that, and that then came with such popular classes, my signature class, Total Tone, which I still teach, and I will still teach in the future. Brought in, 60 to 80 women. And
ladies and gentlemen, if you've not been to the class, it was just absolutely mind-blowing. It was bonkers. And I would just bop around in the class, just looking around thinking, how on earth has she done this? This is just, get that draw of all these people wanting to exercise together in such a fun, I think fun is the key there, fun environment, and like the non-judgmental. So and you absolutely bought it to the Total Tone. It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, and it's one of them memories now I look back on and with huge pride and huge love for it, really, because, you know, I hit my goal. I'm really proud of it, and that will come again. I want to scratch that itch for sure and get out in the community and teach. But I am getting older. My knees are getting older. So I did need to scale back a little bit. So with COVID, obviously, you know, things came very challenging, and we had to make some tough decisions, as you do as a business owner.
So a snapshot of where you are now, Kat, compared to a year ago. Where are you at?
We made a decision to downsize the business, or almost rationalize the business. During COVID, I had to think very quick on my feet during the lockdown and really retain all these awesome members that we had, and to keep them motivated and feel accountable. And the solution that was coming through, especially from, you know, America and all over the world, was at-home fitness. So we very quickly put together ZestFit Virtual, which was very amateur in the early days, and then we slowly started to piece together an awesome website. And that is where we are now. We've got hundreds of women working out from home who are squeezing in the total tone, you know, all the signature classes and different classes. And we're in the proximity of your home. And we're finding that this is working for a lot of business owners, a lot of mums, a lot of teenagers who are wanting to get fit without the intimidation aspect of
Absolutely. And on ZestFit Virtual, you have like 10-minute energizers, which are great, like I say, just to fit in between meetings or a lunch hour, wherever you can fit some exercise in. So something, in my opinion, is better than nothing. So to get something in and have the content there ready to go is absolutely amazing. And you mentioned it's amateur. It didn't look amateur, Kat, from where I was jumping up and down. And I think because before COVID, you were very interactive on social media, doing your Instagram lives and your stories and Facebook lives from the studio with everyone there. So when you transferred to virtual, it was almost like we were used to seeing you on screen anyway, because you were so visual. Would you say social media was a big sort of help in that factor of transferring from that?
Absolutely, Yvonne. You know, we're in an industry, fitness, it's fun, isn't it? It's exciting. You know, that's the beauty of fitness. It's social media is made, fitness and social media are made for each other. So you can make that impact, make that positive influence on someone's day just by talking about eat more fruit, drink more water, get moving, whatever that may be. So yeah, social media was golden and still is really today. I think there's still things that I need to learn in terms of going forward, but it's just being you on that screen, and the more you do it, the more you get comfortable with it.
Absolutely. And talking about being you and being yourself, you have a tremendous amount of women willing to share their sweaty selfies online. How on earth you've managed to do that, I just do not know. That petrifies me. When you say, share your sweaty selfies, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't do that. That's so many women do. It's amazing.
Do you know, and that gives that person such accountability though, Yvonne, you know, because when you're working out from home and me as the trainer, you know, you're shouting at me at the screen, I almost want you to say, I know you're doing it, so prove that and show me a sweaty selfie.
Well, when you're pointing at the screen saying, I can see you, I'm checking you in, I just look around sometimes. I'm like, is she here? Did she spot me doing that? So yeah, it's absolutely fantastic, Kat, absolutely fantastic. So we've touched on some new behaviours and beliefs, but is there a particular behaviour and belief that you're going to keep after this, you know, fiasco is all over? What new behaviour and belief has greatly improved your life over the past year?
You know, I'll be honest, I've really spent a lot of time just trying to not feel that guilt of running a business, not feel the guilt of not being a great wife, not feel the guilt of not being a great daughter or a great, you know, mum. That guilt consumes you because your business consumes you. Yeah. And to help me with that, I've really, which I never would have said a year ago, but I've really started to do a little bit of meditation. And it's, you know, 10 minutes, that's all it takes. Yeah. And it's really helping me just clear my mind, be in the present moment. It helps with that feeling of anxiety with the business, the finance, the accounts, whatever it is that you need to tackle. Because running a business, you've got a million hats to wear. So yeah, I would never have done this pre-COVID, but I actually now I'm loving my meditation.
That's really interesting you to say that. And have any of your family, friends, or your children given you reason to feel guilty, or is that an internal thing that's coming out from yourself?
Yeah, I think it's me. I mean, absolutely not. My husband cheers me on. My children know nothing more really than mummy working and doing fitness. They are fully accepting of that. I think it's the expectation, the pressure, Yvonne, we put ourselves under to deliver with purpose and with passion. And when we're not doing that, you almost feel a little bit like, why am I not busy? So you have that guilt to think, I need to be busy. This is my autopilot response. And lockdown forces you it's forced you to just stop and analyse life a little bit more.
Absolutely. We talked before we went on air that as business owners we're very easy to fill our time with. There's always a bit more marketing you could do. There's always a bit more accountancy you can do. Always a bit more of something you can be getting on with. It's knowing when to draw the line and say today that is enough, and to give yourself some break to find and make space for things like meditation. And I'm really surprised to hear the word anxiety coming from you, Kat, because you come across as a really confident, you've got it together, life is sussed sort of woman. So, I think a lot of people watching this will be quite surprised to hear those words coming from your mouth, really. Is that something that you've always struggled with?
Do you know, I never thought I did, but when I look back at my career in Asia, and I was running 6 clubs in, the Philippines, Hong Kong, that big role of recruiting and training, I had anxiety, but it was probably adrenaline driven. I'm 28 years old. I've got a cracking career. I'm working morning, noon, and night. I'm living in a foreign country on an expat salary. So all of them things were awesome, but you have that level of feeling like you're just running on overdrive. I guess now I say anxiety because you can label it. So it's not like, oh my God, I'm so anxious. It's almost like that feeling of constantly feeling under pressure to deliver a fantastic product. So I guess the anxiety sort of ebbs and flows, doesn't it, with where you are in your life. And how you can exercise it, how you can deal with that.
And using exercise to help you maintain and make sure that your well-being is up to scratch, really, because if you're not looking after yourself, you can't look after others, not in my opinion. And pre-COVID, in terms of anxiety and feeling sort of nervous about business, before COVID even existed, on a Monday morning I'd feel like I'd started one end of a tightrope, and on Friday afternoon when the office shuts down, that was the only time I could get off that tightrope. So in between those 5 days, I felt like at any moment I could get pushed off, and I was always trying to make sure that I was spinning the plates and doing everything. And if you're doing that 5 days a week for all those weeks of your life, that's going to manifest, isn't it, into something. So that's something that I've definitely recognised in myself.
You can only deal with so much, can't you? It comes a time when you think, right, I'm going to crash and burn here. If I don't absolutely just slow down, stop the manic being on a treadmill, hence the pun, but if I don't stop that, I'm going to crash and burn, and I'm going to be no good to anyone. I'm not going to be able to motivate, my own children, let alone, a room full of girls.
60 odd women in a boutique. And that's when, Tuesday nights, the days when you just think, you know what, I can't be bothered with this tonight. You're forcing yourself down to the boutique and forcing yourself to do some exercise. It just takes you out of that mindset. It's just phenomenal. The wonders that exercise can do on mental well-being is just amazing. Kat, we've talked about, really hard things about running a company, but what is the hardest thing, thinking about ZestFit Virtual and the way things are now? Are there any hard things that you're having to deal with, any more challenges you're having to deal with, but maybe in a different way than you used to?
I think it's, I was chatting about this with my husband earlier, and I think a lot of the time as a business owner, you feel alone. As an entrepreneur or a business owner or a creative mindset, you do feel you're in your head a lot, and to surround yourself with people who get it, who have that same sort of drive is crucial. And I think the downside of that, sometimes you can feel alone. You can feel like, oh, I got to deal with this. I don't want to talk to anyone about it. So that I think is a real, I'm better now at being able to vocalize and talk about that and understand that who I am as a person and how driven I am is okay. I can't suppress it. It's there, I
really hope that the legacy of the pandemic is that we are more open to the way things really are, because as you know, through networking, before the pandemic, the default answer was, oh, how's business? Oh, yeah, it's fine, thank you very much, doing really well, despite whatever's going on behind the scenes. And that takes energy, and a lot of people probably see through that. So hopefully the legacy will be we are more compassionate to each other, and we all know that we've been through a tough time and we're more supportive of one another.
Absolutely.
Again, reminder for those watching and listening at home or in the office, please do send in your comments and questions. We'd love to hear from you. Show us some love, click the like button. If you're watching this live on YouTube, press the subscribe button as well. Before we go over to some more positive stuff, Kat, I always want to ask this to my guests, because it's a really interesting one, and one that I've been through several times over the years. When was the last time you felt like quitting? And most importantly, how did you get over it? What sort of tools did you use to get over that mindset?
Oh, that's tough, because there's been quite a few over the years. I would say the first lockdown was pretty intense, wasn't it? We waited on that announcement, 19th of March. It's a date I'll never forget. And that's when, we were absolutely rocking it in the boutique. ZestFit was absolutely just at a place where I needed to be. And then, he announced the gym closure. And the overheads, the rent, everything that comes out of that business account, and suddenly that's ground to a halt. And you have them horrible conversations, don't you, about throwing in the towel. I haven't got the mental energy to do this. The mental energy has to be on point without a lockdown, let alone going into a situation. So I think that was probably pretty instrumental in the early stages. And as you know, as a fitness professional, you cannot show that. You have to be that positive person to, inspire girls to, come on, we've got this. We're closing temporarily. That's okay.
So many people look to you, to that positive role model. So what you must have been going on behind the scenes must have been absolutely phenomenal. I don't know how did you manage it? How did you manage it?
I chatted to my husband constantly, really, about and we took each step as it came. And then, as you know, we got to third lockdown, and then January, the biggest month for any fitness industry, any fitness company. January sets you up for the year. That really gives you that idea of how your business is going to look for 2021. And imagine, as a fitness owner, an independent fitness owner, you haven't got that foot flow of beginners, new businesses, new clientele. That's hard. And then that's when you hit rock bottom and you think, how am I going to get these people back into a gym and motivate them? Because everyone wants to train in January, suddenly February takes a dip, March takes a dip. Very different year.
Very, very interesting. Now we're going to go to some positive stuff now, thankfully, because we are positive people. So what's the good stuff of running your own company? What's all the good things that can come
if I want to take them all in, I can. Do you know, the good stuff is I am just driving with purpose and passion. I think, I've thought about this. You can say things about having the day off, doing bits like that and having that autonomy. But I really do wake up and know, do you know what, I am blessed to be doing something I love. I am passionate about it, and that's my business. You know, like you are, Yvonne, you're passionate about, you know, creative print and technology, and that's what drives you, isn't it? That's what's awesome about running your own business.
Absolutely. And would you say that running your own business gives you freedom?
Yeah, I think it does. It's took me a while to learn that. I think to start to enjoy that freedom and make the business work for yourself. But yeah, I think so. Freedom in so many ways, whether that be more time rich or freedom to express ideas and be creative and innovate, you know, all them things that you at Fitness First, you know, you would have give them an idea. It just wouldn't have been a best practice, or it wouldn't have been on the marketing plan. Whereas running your own business, you can try it. If it works, it works.
Yeah, I love that. I love thinking of an idea and being able to implement it straight away. Because the small business owners are very agile. We can move with the times.
Yeah.
So that's another massive advantage. But again, going back to freedom, only if we're allowing ourselves to have that freedom. But as I mentioned earlier, we can very easily become very busy doing the tasks. We must allow ourselves to have that freedom, because that's one of the reasons why most of us go into business, to be flexible and have that, like you say, the autonomy. You've made changes already, Kat, massive changes with ZestFit and ZestFit Virtual. But is there any one thing you would like to change right now, or even in your industry? Is there anything you'd like to see change within your industry, perhaps?
I think fitness is such a huge industry now. I mean, you know, I was watching a podcast the other day about at-home fitness, and it's worth in America $7 billion, and in 10 years it's going to be worth $57 billion. And I think a lot of that is because of the look of fitness. You know, girls in crop tops, cycling shorts, the selfies, the intimidating look of fitness. I think I'd like to see change, and I think that's where I'm trying to find my why, which is real women, real results. That person who is juggling life and just needs to feel good, you know, that's what's more important. You know, fitness is about the can do and not about the look like. That's what I'd like to see change, but I don't think it would, to be honest, because it's a very vain industry.
It is, and it's also bringing to the surface that exercise isn't about getting sweaty or looking your best in a gym. It is asking the husband to look after the kids whilst you get sweaty in the kitchen floor, isn't it? That's the reality of most people's fitness regimes. Yes. Or, you know, the husband shouting, "Keep it down up there," because someone's bouncing up and down in the bedroom upstairs because they're doing some of your total tone classes. So definitely. Kat, it's one of the new questions to the Tuesday Talk Show. What is essential in your business that you're under investing in?
I think this is social media, actually. I think I need to get some really clear advice on targeting a customer and using social media to my advantage for my niche customer. I think you can do a lot of social media and it's blanket work. It's just like a post that gets lost in that white noise. And I think for me, I'm really going to look at investing in some serious sort of, you know, marketing in social media, because that's where the customer is. And how to pinpoint that and make that money, invest in that and make that money work for the right reasons.
That's very specific. I love that. Love the answer. So you mentioned your niche customer. Who is your customer? Have you had an avatar on your office wall, what would they look like?
Do you know what? I think you mentioned it earlier. I think it's that mum at home who is trying to just squeeze a workout in, or that busy business owner who is feeling guilty because she doesn't want to leave her inbox. I think it's that woman who just wants to feel great, doesn't want to, you know, just wants to look good in a pair of skinny jeans. She doesn't necessarily want to count calories. She just wants to sweat, get the happy hormones racing, all the serotonin, the endorphins, all them great hormones. My customer is there at home for sure. He was just trying to squeeze it in.
Just trying to squeeze it in. And that's the beauty about ZestFit Virtual. You know, all the workouts are there ready for when you are, which is whatever time of day that may be, I suppose, which is absolutely fantastic. We talked about social media, and again, that's an area of learning. And everyone that knows me knows that I love to learn. I just want to download all the information that I can. Always got a business book on the go. How are you? Are you enthusiastic about learning as well, Kat? Are there any sort of podcasts or books that you've read recently that you can recommend to the listeners and viewers?
Absolutely. So there's an old book that I read many years ago, which is called Raving Fans.
Oh, yes, that's a good one. Yes.
It's a cracking book, isn't it? All about exceptional customer service. And that, for me, is the pinnacle of your business, isn't it? It's about exceeding expectations, driving with, purpose rather than trying to hit a sales target. It's about really knowing your customer and exceeding them expectations. So Raving Fans is a great book. And I've also got Crushing It. Gary.
Our mate Gary. Yeah, good.
I love this guy. So he, for the social media learning, really, for that, Yvonne, because he really makes you believe that, whether you're 45 or 25 or fresh out of college, you can make that mark on social media. And, even though it's so saturated, there is a place for you if you're authentic and lovely.
And consistent with it.
Consistency
is key for many things. And that's what a lot of business owners, especially if they're in charge of their own marketing, fall down, because life then gets busy. And the thing that they had really good intentions of doing, every week I'm going to do this, every day I'm going to post this. Life gets in the way. Something just nudges them out of that habit, and then it falls to the wayside. Do you have any tips for people in those situations? I mean, you're really consistent. You're doing reels on Instagram about eating your breakfast, putting your lippy on, all those little insights that give you just a little behind the scenes peek of what life is like for ZestFit. Any sort of tips on how we can be consistent with social media?
Do you know, you've just got to get comfortable with it, haven't you? I think that's it, really. A lot of people who I speak to, and a lot of business owners, I just don't know anything about it. I'm such a dinosaur. I mean, I didn't know how to do a reel, but then I just thought, you know what, I'm going to learn. I'm going to have 10 minutes, have a look through a reel, and now I'm reeling it all the time. And I learned about the algorithm with the reels. They are so loose that they just will skyrocket and get you, thousands of views. And on some of those reels, I can get up to 2,500 views.
Wow.
And if that gets me a tap onto ZestFitVirtual.com, then for a 15-second reel,
it's worth it.
show me authentic, working out, kids, whatever it is, get comfortable with it, because it's the way forward for running a business now. It's
getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. I think a lot of people wait for perfection to do it. I won't do that today because my makeup's not quite right and my hair's not quite right.
People want to see you. People want to see you. They want to see you on the school run. They want to see, what is she eating for breakfast? They want to see you, and that's what I try and share, really. I remember during lockdown, I went so quiet on social media. I did no lives, nothing. I was just in a low place with the business.
Where's she gone? Where's she gone?
And I had so many messages. Everyone was like, Kat, we need to see you. Where are you? And then when I suddenly got back and started talking again, people were like, yes, I need you to get me out of this rut. Talk to me. So that's a good feeling, to know that you're making a difference.
It is very intense sometimes when you are the face of the business, and if you have employees or not. And I know in the past I've done my very best to push some employees forward to be sort of like by my side, or to be almost the face, and it came with resistance, and I know exactly how they feel when they resisted it, because days I resist it. Some days I just don't want to be. I want to be in my cave and talk to nobody, and then to do something on social media, it's like I just don't feel like doing it. It's a real pressure when you are the face of the business to keep that up, for sure.
Yeah. And that is what people want to see, though, don't they? I listened to Joe Wicks do a podcast, and that's what he said. He's like, you know, they want to see you, they want to know about you. You know, people buy people. You know, people will love to hear about the mistakes you make or whatever it might be, because they can relate to that. You know, and that's what it's about, showing how authentic you are.
And still on social media, even after a few years, it's the posts that have the people's faces in them, or photographs and videos that get the most likes and engagement. So just got to get out there, got to go out comfort zone, people, get out there. We are speeding through time, Kat,
and not feel frightened that, oh, are people sick of seeing me? Like, yeah, if they are, they don't have to see it, but
they just swipe past.
Invisible.
Yeah. Absolutely. We're already at the 30-minute mark. Are you okay to hang on just for a few minutes more, Kat, while I go through some more questions? If that's all right. That's fab. So there's many people watching and listening to this that already have their own business, but there's some people watching it who want to take that leap of faith and they want to start their own company. What advice would you give them? And when would they know it's the right time to do it? Is that even a thing? Is there ever a right time?
No, you've got to do it, haven't you? I think there's no right time. If you want to do it, if it's there in your gut, you know, and it's something you'll look back on and regret doing, you've got to just do it. You've got to just crack on and do it, especially if you're passionate about what it is that you want to do. But the main thing about starting a business, I would say, is you've got to be bloody consistent. You have got to be consistent, and it won't happen overnight, will it? You know, me and you, we've been in business now, our businesses are 10 years old, and this is where we are today, and it, you know, it doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, tenacity, grit, dark nights, early mornings, sacrifices, all them things, you know, people don't see that go behind the scenes of running a business.
And yes, our businesses could have grown quicker if we took more risks, maybe took out more finances, took on more staff all of a sudden. And we have seen people in the community, you know, our peers have taken those risks, and some of them have succeeded and some of them failed. But for me, doing it slowly and steady, I believe, makes for a much stronger foundation for business. You know, we don't, apart from the bounce back loan, which we haven't even touched, it's still sitting there in the bank account. We don't have any other loans and overdrafts ever. And so that is in itself is an achievement to make sure that we've only gone ahead with things if we can afford it, which some people might say, well, that's just a really boring way of doing business. But for me, it's a sleepless night that I've saved myself, and many sleepless nights. Many people that, you know, are in business living out business overdrafts, and that's okay for them. They can deal with that. For me, but I can't deal with that. So it is down to personal, you know, risk, isn't it, of what you're willing to do and risk to grow your business.
And the last year, Yvonne, it's been about surviving, really, rather than growing, you know, and ensuring that your legacy will continue to live on, you know, and survive this storm.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think before COVID and even now, there is an emphasis of growth. You must grow your business, and there's lots of things out there to help you grow your business. But I think the question is, do you want to? You know, I got to a point pre-COVID where things were running by themselves. I could take a step back. And if, you know, just before lockdown happened, I thought, is this what I actually want? And then I was forced into a situation with COVID to make changes. But yeah, you've got to make sure that, don't make sure the external sources are forcing you into something that you think, oh, I should be growing. I should be growing.
Yeah, I should be big. Yeah, absolutely.
I should be big. Kat, what will business look like once it's done? What is done looking like to you when you've got to where you want to be? Can you actually see that at the minute?
I think so. Yeah, it changes, but I think it will be this platform of, you know, motivating all these women from all over the world, and we're lucky to get that right now, to continue to do face-to-face sessions and influence and inspire women to be fit. I don't think I'll ever be done. I think I will. you know,
that is a common theme. That's a common theme of guests. It's like,
yeah,
it won't be done.
You know, this is my legacy, and this is what, you know, I'm so proud of, and that's really, I can't see that finishing, really.
Excellent,
It changes,
excellent.
doesn't it? You rationalise, you change, you go with it, but you
Morphs
know,
into different sort of, you know, disguises. And do you think your children ever thought that far ahead? Do you think your children might get into the fitness industry?
yeah, maybe. I mean, we've chatted very loosely. I mean, they're only 10 and 12, but we've chatted loosely, and it's there if they want to. We'll never force them into it if they don't want to. You know, we'll push them into something hopefully they love to do. But yeah, if they do, oh my God, I'll be bursting with pride. Yeah.
That's so good. What's on your bucket list, Kat? Personal or business, whatever, however you want to answer it. What's on your bucket list? What's left to do?
I don't know really. Well, one of them is I want to take my daughter to New York and watch something on Broadway.
Oh, yes.
I want to do that because I think she needs to experience the full theatre, whether that be in London or in New York. A bit more travelling, you know, that would be great. We went to the Grand Canyon on our honeymoon, so I think we should do that again. That's it really, Yvonne. I haven't got a huge amount. Have afternoon tea at the Ritz. I think that would be a nice bucket list.
That would be definitely a good bucket list to do. Jim and I also went to the Grand Canyon for our honeymoon, and we went to the zip wire that's on the strip. And I got to the top of it, and I forgot that I had a fear of heights, so I left him there to go down by himself. See you, Jim. See you, new husband. Go down by yourself. Thank you very much. Oh dear. So this has been absolutely fantastic, Kat. Thank you so much for your time on the Tuesday Talk Show. Where can people find you? I mean, we talked about Instagram, and you are all over the place, but where is the best place to get in touch with you?
Yeah, on Instagram, ZestFit Cat on Instagram, or Facebook, ZestFit Virtual. You can email me. I've made myself fully available for people to get in touch for any inspiration or any business questions. Absolutely, yeah. Or ZestFitVirtual.com can get in touch with me on there.
Fantastic. So I'm going to wrap up there. This is Series 3, Episode 6, the final episode for Series 6. We are back very soon with people already booked in for Series 4 and 5, and I cannot wait to show you who we've got lined up. Again, if this is live, so anything could have happened, anything still can happen. We've got a couple of minutes left. So please send in your questions and comments, even if you are watching this on #replay. Show us some love, click the like button wherever you're watching this. And if you're watching this live on YouTube or on replay YouTube, please press the subscribe button. We'd love to see and hear from you. Going back over now to Kat from ZestFit Virtual for your final thought. Over to you, Kat.
A final thought. Do what makes you happy and move more, move more. So if you are not moving enough, then get moving, even if it's baby steps.
That is awesome. Thank you so much, Kat from ZestFit Virtual. We'll leave it there and we'll see you next time on the Tuesday Talk Show. See you later. Bye.
Bye.